Deja vu.
Take 4.
Groundhog Day.
Austin on the beat. Normally we're actually very professional with these things, huh? The guy's nervous for that, man.
Ik weet jy ook al nie?
It must be the presence of the Mr. Rex.
This.
It can also be the weather, man.
Yes, podcast.
Yo, what's up? This is the Base 187. Welcome to the Babbling Heads podcast.
I'm Dj Fingaz.
Webster.
Charlie X2C.
And today we're welcoming all the way from Kayla, aka Kayla's Anna MacGyver. Accomplished singer, songwriter, poet, Mr. Jerome Rex.
Bloop. Morning, everybody. Lekker to be here, man.
Cool, man. Check je.
Thank you, man.
Voor mensen wat nou onder een club geboren is, en wat die weet wie Jerome Rex is.
Sure.
Let's give them a little intro and a little background as to where you grew up and all that good stuff.
Shaquille did actually a great job of that. So yeah, definitely. I'm an MC, singer, songwriter. I'm from Kuils River, and that is my way I grew up. I was born in Elsies River, but we moved to Kuils River when I was very young. And I think I was mentioning earlier, like Kuils River is this town at the time that everybody moves to Kuils River from somewhere else, man. You know, it didn't have its own indigenous people at the time. Oh, you know, it must have.
Yeah.
But at the time, nobody was really from Kuils River. And I think that contributed to just the amount of talent that is in the town and the unique character and atmosphere that Kuils River has. So you guys know, like in terms of Cape Town hip-hop history, Kuils River has produced great DJs, it's produced great B-boys, great MCs, Jets Vinger, Cream, Chase, you know, this Hardout, amazing DJs, Earl Scratch.
Yeah.
Codex, Ivy Beats, my own DJ, like gevaarlijke DJ. So Kuils River just has this, it's kind of got this melting pot kind of vibe. Now that's of course different. It's like 30 plus years later, there's people who have grown up in Kuils River, and it's nice to see another generation of young hip-hoppers kind of.
I was
come
next
up
to
and do
Mitchell's
their
Plain.
thing.
No, Mitchell's Plain is one of those towns that townships what like amazing talent op hulle eie create, no? So Kayla.
Yeah.
Well, you can think
Besides
of your
Grassy Park,
Menenbergs,
there
you can
was
think
Grassy
of
Park
your
also.
Menenberg is the
Bontiville's.
same, Bontiville is the same. But I find actually, if you're talking specifically about hip hop history, it's for me very interesting to see how different towns get spotlighted and foregrounded over the years, man. Like for a time it was Mitchell's Plain, and you know everybody's focus was just on Mitchell's Plain, and they were producing amazing MCs, and then it was Worcester, and then it was Paul, and
Also
then it was
Ocean View.
Ocean View.
Yeah,
I was about to say
yeah.
Ocean View.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, like those people have always been there, and they've always been doing their thing. But for some reason, like there's a point in history where the spotlight is just on that area, and they get kind of the moment where everybody becomes aware
Dude,
of what's happening in the town.
Hammer told me once in the 90s, no? He says hip-hop will thrive where there's a lack of, man. And they say guys who come, the Cape Flats is like a perfect birth ground for hip-hop, man. The purest form of hip-hop, man.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
got it fucking sing like, yeah, man.
Yo, it's like Dead Precies, ne? Karate means empty hand, so it's perfect for the black man. It's like,
That's dope, that's dope.
You know, I'm also thinking, being at Grassy Park High, okay, we all from Grassy Park High, okay, the three of us, Grassy Park High. I always remember, you know.
not anymore, ne?
you
You've
see-
matriculated since.
I'll always be at school. I'll always be at school because I'm constantly learning, brother.
Okay,
So,
okay.
Hy het opsigter geraak.
Yeah, hey, hy's my oupa, ne? So here's the thing, man. I've always noticed, like during interval or whenever we are outside or there's PT, or you always get these cars that come past and the music is blaring. Maar die moment wat daar 'n kar verbykom, dan sien jy net, yeah, the lights are starting to move and you just see that rhythm. So that is something that is our culture.
It's
Where
inborn,
does-
yeah.
Where does your music influence come from?
Yo, everywhere, ne? Like, certainly if you're talking about our culture and you're talking about the history, I have a deep interest in Cape Malay culture and in Cape culture in general, where these things come from and where the history comes from. And then of course Motown, jazz, Mighty Clouds of Joy, like Manikoor vibes. So there's all different places. I was really into like the Afrikaans music that the SAIK used to play at the time, because that's all you heard on TV. Ne? You
Here
like
comes
Lorika
your
Rauch
age.
and
Blaze Bridges.
Les Bridges,
Here
Randall Wickham.
are
Yeah,
Funny enough,
all
funny
those
enough.
people. I'll say
Randall, sorry to interject here, but Randall Wickham, as popular as it was back in the day, when they found it was actually colored. You got blacklisted.
Ja, nee.
Case in point.
Boom.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yo,
Yeah.
knowledge.
You see,
Yeah.
constantly learning, so ek is nog altyd by die skool mee, bro.
Absolutely. But yeah, so my musical interests and the background comes from a lot of different places. But it was at school actually that I was exposed really to hip hop the first time. And I was like, yo, what is this? You know, and it was the culture. I think my generation was probably the last generation that was exposed to hip hop as this overall culture and not rapping, you know, I'm rapping. Because I've seen Owens rap on YouTube, or I'm dancing because I watch BC1, you know, that kind of thing. So it was very much hip hop culture that was thriving at the time in our community.
So you chose, no? Of maybe I just saw it that way. Dat eerste gechoose al wat ek eerste gesien het was sy rap. And all of a sudden, what the fuck? This bra sings also. Why did you choose to do it that way and not together like a Lauryn Hill would have did it in the 90s? Why did you choose to first do the rapping? Nah, die bra kan spit. Oh fuck, die bra kan sing ook nou. You don't know. Why did you choose to do it that way?
Man, I think it was certainly an experience thing at the time. Like I had known I could sing, but I could sing in a group. Or I could sing in church, or maybe at the karaoke evening and so on. But it took me a while actually to take myself seriously as a singer. Where with the rap stuff, I just always think rap is easy. You know,
Wow.
it's a lot easier to distinguish yourself as a rapper, and to grow and develop as a rapper. You can kind of coach yourself and polish yourself, your own skills. But when it comes to singing, it took me a while to build up that confidence. So I would, when I was working on my first solo album, I would go out to open mics and whatnot and try like the sing-song stuff and see, okay, nice, this is all right. You know, and the first demos come back where I'm singing and I'm like, yeah, this sounds legit. So it took me a little bit longer to take myself seriously, I think, as a singer, as a recording artist. And even now, it's lekker to just explore different things and also to learn from the big names and cover the big names. You know, someone asked me to do a wedding once many years ago. This guy was like a fan of my rap stuff. So we met at Park Jams. He knew me as a rapper, but he knew most now that I sing a little bit on the songs. And he asked me to entertain at his wedding. And there I started covering like Stevie and Marvin Gaye and learning from those people. And now, like, you think you know Stevie as a genius until you try singing one of his songs. Then you realize, yo, this guy's really a genius. You know, so it's almost like a dancer friend of mine was saying, yo, Michael Jackson is on another planet. She was dancing in a tribute show. And she was saying, this guy, like the rhythms that he's picking up on and the points. But she understood that from learning the routines, man.
Yeah.
So I think when you cover these guys and you learn from them in that way, it gives you a different appreciation of their genius and really of like Bob Marley, you know, the melodies are so simple, but when you sing it, you're like, yeah, this musical genius, musical genius.
But I think it's vat artists soos jy, that gives gravitas to doing a cover, man. Because normally ons sal sê jy moet nie cover doen nie.
Yeah,
Maar omdat hy route gevat het, eerste rapper en nou doen sy cover, maar ek voel dat sy doen 'n cover jou eie way weer, man.
Well, yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
it's important to me to give it my own interpretation because that's also hip hop culture. It's about taking something and making it your own,
Exactly,
and not
yeah.
doing it like the other person does it, but giving it your own interpretation. And it's lekker for me to do hip hop covers when I do live shows. I really enjoy doing, like, I'll throw in a devious verse and then, you know, the audience really appreciates it. And I did this Jack challenge thing a few months ago where I rapped one of Jack's verses. And for me, it's not about being derivative, it's about respecting and honoring those people and honoring their contribution. And I think that aspect of culture that frowns on people covering, it's perhaps missing that point, man. It's missing the intent and it's missing the heart behind it. It's not, I'm singing...
You're paying homage.
I'm paying homage. I'm paying homage. I'm not covering a hit because it's a hit and I'm going to get the reaction out of the audience, because I see that also at festivals and the like, and it works on my nerves.
He's nog a Bruno Mars cover.
Yeah, because you know the menses, Versace and the people is dancing, you know, but it's the cover that's moving the audience. But I think for me, it's more about teaching that culture to the audience and showing them, Kiki, these are the Owens whose shoulders we are standing on.
Yeah.
And we want to honor that and we want to respect that.
Just so, by the way, want to say congratulations on, I know it's 2 years later, but 2019, that Guma Awards.
Oh,
Yeah, thank you, man.
Congratulations. Tell me, what was that experience like?
Nah, that experience was amazing. And you know, they haven't had the award since then. So I'm basically still was now the reigning champion.
Here's a champ.
No, that was really cool. What happened was the Gumas, I think, as an organization and as an awards, they were trying to be more representative, and so they had added these new categories. It was first Best Afrikaanse Hip Hop Liedjie van die Jaar, you know, and it was measured according to certain criteria, creativity and production value and the criteria was made available, which suddenly opened the door for a whole bunch of artists because now I'm not competing against a Bobby van Jaarsveld and having to match his streaming numbers, which for me is impossible. You know, suddenly the playing field was very level. So I think in 2017 they had the first awards, and I entered the song and it was nominated as one of the finalists, and it was an amazing experience because they had this whole skouspel vibe. You know, you're at this arena and you're on stage and you're doing live stuff, and I'm performing alongside Adam. Hou vast, ons gaan al die reels breek. And we like all singing along with that. And then 2 years later, I entered again. They expanded the categories to Best Afrikaanse Hip Hop Liedjie van die Jaar, and then also Album of the Year. And I really had my heart set on Album of the Year. So, of course, I entered. It was with the Jerome album. And then I won Album of the Year. Early B was one of the finalists. He won Song of the Year, of course, for Ben 10.
Yeah.
When people hear it was Ben 10, it's like, of course, Ben 10 is your grandmommy knows Ben 10, you know, everybody knows Ben 10.
And your grandmommy soeka Ben 10.
Yeah. These are wild accusations here.
Insinuations.
Yeah, but it was a dope experience. It was kind of like the Grammys, you know. They call your name, you go on stage, you go up, and you thank Jesus, and you thank your family, and all that. It was brilliant. It was a great experience.
That's
Awesome.
But check it, also, I've noticed over the years that you're one of the few hip hop artists, current gen, who still actually create bespoke events that draws in your crowd, from your crowdfunding campaigns to your intimate sessions. How that's a more intimate and experiential way of marketing compared to the norm of printing CDs, doing a music video, and expecting a radio to take it to the masses. What brought about your decision to go that route?
I think it's really from like when I've probably always been performing like in a crew first with other Owens. So it was me and Ivy Beats and Chase and Keith, a friend of mine. The four of us used to perform and do stuff, and then later on the project Break Free. But I wasn't taking it seriously as a career, man. It was just, you know, a youth group will call you, come rap for the ladies on Friday, and you go, and then, you know, we'll do our thing, and somebody will bring a thought, will say something, and then that's the evening, and then there somebody spots you and they book you for the next thing, and so on and so on and so on. So at the time it was like churches, youth groups, festivals, that was the vibe. And then around the time of like Flow Motion, I started actively pursuing my music career as a career.
Yeah.
So if I saw there's an event on Facebook, then I'm here in the DM of the promoter. You know, is there open mic? Can I do something? And we'd go through and we would go and do things there. So I think it's from that background of not having built my following on social media. I built my following face to face. I built my following at Purple Turtle and at African Drum, and, you know, at these tiny venues where there's maybe 15, 20, 30 people in the audience and they don't know you, and you must win them over, you know. And so that was liquor for me as well, because at first, I remember with the Purple Turtle nights, you go there, okay, I'm on the open mic, but now we get there at 10, now you wait until midnight. So I'm in front, and, you know, you're enjoying the show and whoever else is on, and now you wait until midnight to do one song.
Oh, yeah.
But as part of that promotion, I maybe made a flyer, you know, Jerome Rex, Purple Turtle, tonight, don't miss it. So it looks legit. But I think that, to answer your question, it's because I built my following face to face. I built my following at the park jams, at the events, seeing people like this and engaging with the audience.
Networking.
Yeah, and throwing t-shirts into the crowd and the handing out my CDs hand to hand, like that was where it came from. So lockdown was in fact a bit of a change for me, because now suddenly you must have kind of almost like a hybrid model. You must move some stuff online
Yeah, definitely.
because it's just impossible to go out and do the things that we've always been doing.
Check it. Why do you think you koppels ouders met DJs? Why is it? Want baie man rappers doen dit like eintlik the ways hulle doen want dit baie DJs at hand type of like hy het vir Jerome net né? Encore hy het vir Easy en vir D. That's dope. It's dope,
Man, I think it's two things. It's two things. Like, firstly, I really have a love for hip hop culture. So when I do a show, it's dope to have a DJ on stage with you, man, because it creates a live feel to your show. You're not standing there and you're telling the sound guy, you know, Mr. DJ. No, then you still say, Mr. DJ, next track. You actually have like a DJ here with you, and there's that live interaction. And you can make it, it's because the Dex is an instrument. So you make it a live show. It's really an experience for the audience because you're showing them, look here, this is a piece of hip hop culture here. It's the MC, it's the DJ, it's where the whole thing started for a lot of people. So that's number one. And then number two, like for me, what's always strange is when other recording artists want to send me their music, man. And I'm thinking to myself, what must I do? Like, I can't help you, you know. You also a rapper. I can't really help you by listening to your music. It's not really going to advance your career. No one's going to discover you like under the old major label model. But a DJ can play your music, you know. And I've just always been fascinated. I love the way a good DJ tells a story. I love the way that when a good DJ is playing, you can stand outside the venue and I'll know that's Roach playing. Or that's Nantal play. Like there's a certain atmosphere that the DJ creates, man, and you know who it is playing, even though you're not inside the venue.
That sonic landscape.
Yeah, and it's so somebody who tells me a DJ is just pressing play, like they've never experienced that, man. They don't know what they're talking about.
Oh wait, just a quick interjection. Just a shout out to the creators of the Purple Turtle Nights. DJ Real Rosano, DJ Roach.
For
hosting a platform.
Much love and respect.
That's not the first guest we've had on that has made mention of that.
Listen, what Roach did that time, what Roach did that time, it was so valuable to the growth of hip-hop culture at the time because there wasn't another platform like that. And there was, you know, people have a lot to say, but do the maths, man. You know this man is not making money here. He's giving of his time, he's giving of himself to be at this event.
Yeah, and basically, as I remember being there a couple of times, was the entry fee went into a cup, and the winning MC got the cup at the end of the night.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right.
That's right, yeah. And sometimes they would just not make you pay. You know, Rosa's cousin is slamming at the door, and he's like, it's all right, man. You know, because
and
it was
about
Rosa
a paar beers there. Ik had nog een paar black labels.
You can always still sort that out.
No,
Shaquille.
I can
It's never too late, yeah.
So here comes my other question. Musical influences.
Yeah. Yo.
Didn't you cover that?
Yeah, we did cover that, yeah.
No, because I'm thinking he did a version of Sam Cooke. So clearly he's got a diverse how can I say your spectrum is in it hip hop here.
Yeah, no, but I mean that
hip hop
is
is based on samples.
That is hip hop. That is hip hop because hip hop draws from all these genres. Hip hop draws from classical music, it draws from Motown, it draws from soul, it draws from gospel. So if you're pulling those things in, for me, that's hip hop, man. Like hip hop is when something is hip hop, when I believe when there's expression of self in it, when there's that knowledge of self that is evident, when someone is putting something of themselves into it. That's hip hop. So I think, in fact, there's some singers maybe who are more hip hop than some rappers who didn't come up in the culture, you know, who are just busy with this one discipline or perhaps with a commodity like the commercial commodity. But yeah, the Sam Cooke thing came from actually, I covered the Redemption song in lockdown. So what I was trying to do in lockdown is every week I had a video out. So it was either something that I'd written new, the Ready D show I had at the time, this lockdown challenge, that 16-bar challenge. So I entered for that and I wrote stuff. Like anybody who had something going, because it was just a like opportunity to stay sharp and also to be producing content. So I would make those, or I would have one of my old verses and I'll create a lyric video, or I'll just cover something. But it was like just for fun, man. I covered the Redemption song. And when you listen to songs like that, when you listen to Redemption song, Give Me Hope, Joanna, Change is Gonna Come, there's for me this duality, man. Like, it's amazing that it's still relevant, but yo, it's tragic that it's still relevant, man. Why is struggle music as relevant today as it was that time? Why do those words mean as much today as they do that
Nothing
time?
has changed there.
Have
Yeah,
you ever
yeah.
have you ever heard Robbie Johnson's rendition of Redemption Song? Bruh. Okay, I'll play it to you later.
Yeah, man.
I'm also going to say I never heard that though.
I
No,
wanna
that's
ask-
actually, I heard it from Tansville. He still had it on his old iPod, and it's like, yo, bruh. It's like, yo, fuck. For real, that was like moving. Moving.
Ah.
Kijk, I want to
I'll
ask
bump it
you.
later.
There's an owner, clearly there's natural talent, but wat ek kan sien, die way jy sing, daar's talent wat sy werk op, daar's business wat jy sê, kyk, is lockdown, but I still can, sy sê bra wat like sal sê, kyk, fuck is lockdown, I can't work, whatever, sy create content, man. So hier's my vraag is, with all that you're doing, what would you change in the industry if you could? Magic wand nomas change. Wat sal dit change wat easier? Okay, so wat is Wat sal dit change? Wat sal dit change as they can in the industry?
Yo, that is such a loaded question. I think there's so many things in there that one can talk about. I mean, you can ask any artist what they hate about the industry, and people will probably come up with the same answers. But I just feel like the industry is the industry, man. You know, like accept it that way if you want to break into it. And some people have the belief that the industry must give us a chance. You know, they must give Rijnklets a chance. They must give Afrikaans hip hop a chance. And I just feel like that's never gonna happen. Like we are gonna build our own thing, and it's gonna create such a groundswell that the gatekeepers and mass media is not going to be able to refuse it. It's going to reach a point where you must play it. So you can't not play it. Yeah. So I'm not anti-industry. I'm not anti-record label. I'm not anti-management. I say things often, I think that make people think that, but I just feel like if you have somebody who wants to manage you, that person's got to be able to do so much more for you than you can do for yourself.
Exactly.
You know, like a label, the industry, the machine, like all that stuff. If you want to be signing a deal and you want to get in bed with a label or with a major, go do that. But understand what your goals are, understand what your ideals are and where you're going, and what they can do for you versus what you can do for yourself. Because that image of us getting discovered, you know, someone's gonna, like Justin Bieber, someone's gonna see you on YouTube and they're gonna snap you up. That's most fantasy, man.
But I think a lot of artists now, they some is lazy, some witty wat hulle nog nie witty, so they don't do a type of move, and then they blame it on the industry, this and the radio now wanna play me, and soos ek gesê het, radio het raak het nie meer relevant is, man. Ek het mense nou op 'n ander podcast ook nou. You know,
well, I think if you want a radio station to play you, then you've got to do some research. I know people personally who say radio doesn't want to play them, but they don't listen to that show. They don't listen to that station.
Yeah.
So you haven't gone and really understood what
the
this
market
format
is,
is. Yeah, because there's a certain format and there's a certain style. KFM wants a certain vibe. You know, if it's commercial radio, if it's community, even they have a certain vibe and a certain style. So I think if somebody wants to get played, you need to be targeting a show on a station.
Yeah.
And it needs to be in line with that format. And until you've really done that and given it a go, and you've compared your music to the other stuff that's playing on that show, then you can't. Then you
honestly compare.
Then you can't say. Then you can't say that radio doesn't want to play me, because my experience is people who say that are people who are not making music for the radio stations that they are claiming doesn't want to play it. And also, you must not come be talking about niggas and bitches, and you know, and then you say, you know, Radio Tigerberg don't want to play my music. You know?
Gospel radio don't want to play my shit.
I'm too hard for gospel radio. Like, no, man, do a bit of homework. So that's kind of my frustration with that. So I don't think it's a case of radio not wanting to play people. I think it's more people not understanding the format. And if you are making music that doesn't fit that, then do that, man. But don't blame the radio station. Find other avenues. Then there's always other channels.
Also work on your craft in terms of the quality of your production, because that's where a lot of, I wouldn't like to say this, but bedroom MCs go wrong. It's like, no, Celeste used to say this a lot. It's like, guys, make sure that your stuff is Eureka, not America. You sample your stuff.
Some God. That's some good.
So all
That's
your
also important. It's
your
a
music
legal
must be
requirement.
registered. The sound quality must be up to. Says the one that had to start the podcast 3 times.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's not
So
on.
like Raki, sorry, what?
That's not on film, man. There's no record of that and shit.
True, I was next.
Maybe you must open like a blooper reel, like a Mumish of the Week.
Okay, I'm gonna ask a really silly question.
Not the same one, huh? Can I repeat?
Don't worry.
No repeats, no
Listen,
repeats.
we had
Because
to
in the
re-
rack
we
out
had to
your
re- we had to repeat the opening 4 times. So come on, let me repeat myself.
Yeah.
once
So,
again.
okay, you obviously you get artists, and I've worked with a few that can only perform or can only do their thing in studio. And then you get Owens to that, once they're in studio like myself, I get a bit nervous, right? I get extremely nervous, and I can't do what I do when I'm on stage. What do you prefer, being in studio, or like most artists that I hope are listening, do you prefer being on stage with an audience, or do you find that daunting?
No, I don't find it daunting at all. I love both for what you can learn from them. I had always, all the years, the first thing you do was now when the digital revolution comes around, is you get you a desktop, a big tower, and you get you your CRT monitor, and then later on, a flat monitor, my bro, and you get you your interface, and you get you your mic and so on, and you start recording. So that was kind of my first experience of recording by myself at home. It's like, you're pressing record, and now you jump up to the mic, and then you do your thing. Or someone else presses record for you. Your ultimate luxury. But then,
What did I say? What did I say? Somebody else.
it's amazing. Nice.
I told you.
But then I started my first experience working with a recording engineer who is producing the song. That transformed my life. That was like, this is something else. I went to Exilic Music. They were based out in Ocean View at the time. And this guy is producing the recording. So he's not pressing record. He's like, okay, let's try that again. Okay, a bit more energy. Okay, I think you've peaked there. Or you hear these harmonies here, this vocal arrangement. This one is clashing here, man. He pulls out his guitar. He's like, nah.
Okay, je moet een nooit vang, ja.
Yeah, so my experience is working in an environment like that. As a recording artist, it can make you a better performing artist if you let it. And working as a performing artist can make you a better recording artist if you let it. So I'm very interested in learning from both, because there's stuff you can learn from both. The one complements the other, complements the one again. So there's this back and forth all the time. I love performing in front of people. Over lockdown, when performing in front of people wasn't a thing anymore, I'm probably the person who missed it the least of all my friends and family because I think the whole touring thing is, I'm kind of over that, man.
Yeah.
I got a wife, I got children. I'm not interested in touring unless I can turn it into an experience for my family. So we get a booking at KAK&K or at Vryfees in Bloemfontein, and we all going through, and it's a beat, it's a holiday, and it's like it.
That's okay.
But at the same time, I'm really afraid of not being sharp, not being performance fit, not being stage fit. So I perform so that I can stay sharp and stay in touch with the audience and keep those skills where you can read what the crowd is doing. And you have to think of different ways to engage them and make the performance entertaining. So I don't miss it as much as the next guy misses it. But I know that if you don't keep that thing sharp, then you will lose it, man. So I'm very mindful of that. And that's why I gig predominantly. Is just to stay performance fit, because it's a lekker thing. Hey, that feeling when you're on the stage, and when you do this, then the people are like, oh, like, and you do this, and then they're like, and they got their camera phones out. It's an amazing feeling. It's an amazing feeling.
Awesome.
I want to get to this track. Gaan ze spelen voor ons?
Trek ik knop.
Huh? No, we're going to discuss it most now. I
Oh,
don't
ik
do
was gonna
intros.
watch it.
I don't do intros. I don't do intros. I just say,
Moet eens trainen.
Ja.
Moet eens trainen. Sê net ek sal.
Okay, so
Say for some mic, dude. Dude, ik is een kak MC.
beloftes wat ek maak, kan nie water soos dit eenmaal gedoen het, maar ek waag 'n kans en maak 'n poging om jou te sê presies so vas was my moed en ook dat woorde die krag het om te skap en daar en hoop ons. Oh my man, net op as ek jaag, myself voeten soos 'n dop en verbaas, die wat kyk of ek sal doop of dit maak, ek kom nooit met dop, ek was traag. Oh my man, net op as ek jaag, myself voeten soos 'n dop en verbaas, die wat kyk of ek sal doop of dit maak, ik kom nooit meer op, ik was traag. Zal ik je een woord en dat in alles binnen mij. Alles binnen mij. In als bericht storm, voorspel zal ik nog thuis blij. Zal ik nog thuis blij. Zal ik mijn eigen woord of zij zit om voor jou te krijgen. Om voor jou te krijgen. Al was het zo wat wij, die donker komt ons veilig bij. Magistraat en magistraat. Je ziet bij troebel soos ek hoor, vormskrywings van gevoelens wat in my borrel. Woorde se bedoelings lê dwars hier in my gorrel en soek versoening wat die angstigheid deur tonnel. Bemoediging, daai ietsie besonders wat met skoenlappers nie maar bondels vreugde deur my hart laat pomp het tot dit lente vandag, die einde van my winter met bloeisels besprinkel. O ja, ek herken my denken, het 'n mond vol te sê, plus ek weet, acties spreek boekdele. Dus wil ek jou eer en daad wat met liefde verenig om die leemtes te bevredig wat ons toekoms sal verewig. Zodat ons die toekoms verewig, leemtes bevredig en met liefde verenig. Mekaar eer en daad met actie wat boekdele spreek. O ja, ja, oh my man, net op as ek jaag, myself voeten soos 'n dop en verbaas, die wat kyk of ek sal doop of dit maak, ik kom nooit meer op, ik was traag. Oh my God, hello. Ook niet op als ik jaag, myself voeten zoals een dop in verbaas, die wat ik of ik zal doop of dit maak, ik kom nooit meer op, ik was traag. Zal ik je een woord en dat in alles binnen mij. Alles binnen mij. In als bericht en storm, voorspel zal ik nog thuis blij. Zal ik nog thuis blij? Zal ik mijn eigen woord of zij zit om
Ik wil zien of hy gaat krijgen.
Dat is een sprankel in mijn oog, in mijn glimlach getuig. Die liefde laat mij jubel en juich. Vlerkige spray, voel vrij tussen die wolken. Dus wat je doet aan mij. Daar is een sprankel in mijn oog, in mijn glimlach getuig. Die liefde laat mij jubel en juich. Vlerkige spray, voel vrij tussen die wolken. Dus wat je doet aan mij, doen aan mij.
Hou my man net op as ek jaag, myself voeten soos 'n dop en verbaas, die wat kyk of ek sal doop of dit maak, ek kom nooit meer op, ek was traag. Hou my man net op as ek jaag, myself voeten soos 'n dop en verbaas, die wat kyk of ek sal doop of dit maak, ek kom nooit meer op, ek was traag.
Zo gaan we even een paar minuten trekken.
Dis Hello April, hè?
Oh, wait.
Een boot.
Oh ja.
Loserke.
Big up, Hakkiesdraad is on these.
Big up. Hakkiesdraad, his new album X Means is out now. Go check it out on social media. Go find it. And then also shout out to Hello April for that dope little guitar solo there at the end.
Kijk, ik is nog een brave Afrikaanse zanger in. Maar die van mij is dope. Het vloeit lekker met die number en het staat niet uit zoals counterpartje.
But kijk, it was like one aspect of besides of the musicality of it, is like the Cape Jazz is something that's like we're slowly losing that, man. It's like the younger generations aren't picking up on that, and it's an inherent part of our culture, endemic to Cape Town.
And for me, like, culture preservation is so important. Like, we're in this time now, you know, with all these big names are like dying, you know, they're passing on, and it's really making me wonder, like, what is being done to preserve this history? Dude, you know, like, you can't, it's lived experience, man. You can't go Google what people were playing at the Galaxy. You know, I can Google what was big in the 90s. I can Google what was the top dance ones, but you don't know what was playing Club Linden at Galaxy and wherever. So there's certain lived experience. There's lived experience that we must pass on, man. You know, that we have to share. Whether it be guys like you, like putting those mixes up on SoundCloud so that other means can find it and understand what it was like.
I was
in that
having
time.
this conversation with him 2 weeks ago, whatever, a week ago. Was dus nou in die skole met die leiders, man. Nou leer ek vir hulle DJ. Nou vraag ek vir hulle, kyk, wat die DJ's ken julle, man? Dude, like, allemaal die major DJ's, die leiders ken nie vir hulle. Weet jy of hulle te jonk is hier, of... But wat my concern is, as hoe gaan ze dit aanzetten? As ze niet eens die DJ's ken nie, man. Dus ek ken nie die legacy wat die DJ's geding is. Even die, ek het die net so uit gevra hoe hy speel. Toen sê vir my, dude, maar sê kom, show is makkelijker vir jou, because hulle ken vir jou is die, man. Sê my, dude, when I get to clubs, they don't know me. Hulle weet nie wie die is. So he needs to reintroduce them. Kijk, this is who I am, this is my skill, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So somehow we need to meer geflash word.
We need to bridge that gap. I think as MCs we made that mistake. I think dancers also made that mistake. Perhaps in different eras, but there wasn't a bridge, man. There wasn't a bridge where from one generation to the next certain knowledge was passed on and certain help was passed. And I think it may have been just that culture of I'm trying to make it. I can't now be bothered with teaching this lady about, you know, what is the history of DJing.
It's selfish, eh?
Yeah, but
at the end of the day.
But look, you also, sorry to interject there, but I think also one thing we're not looking at is the advancement of technology. Like you say, people don't know the DJs, but what household actually has a radio? I find it these days. Very few. Everybody's consumed to the device. So I think also the culture in terms of preservation also needs to move along with the time. So like in order to disseminate that information, you need to go to the platforms where the consumers are. Because the consumers aren't tuning into Good Up FM anymore. Unless their parents are driving them to school in a car, whatever, they're not going to have access to a radio. I don't have a radio anymore. I don't have a Wi-Fi anymore. I use my TV, I've got a sound box, my Bluetooth box here, and it doesn't have a radio. Some of them do have, but who's not going to listen to radio when you listen to your favorite tracks? So how you get introduced to music these days is also different. It's either by YouTube or people sharing links or things going viral. We had Z at Ease over here, and his stuff was trending heavily on TikTok.
Yeah.
Case in point, it's like, he said, it's like, why must you still bother going to radio when you can go to this platform and exploit it to the fullest?
Man, I fully believe that. I believe like if you want to make radio your focus, make radio your focus. And, you know, as I said earlier, learn the formulas and pursue that. If you want to make TikTok your thing, like grab a thing and commit to it. Because anything that you choose is going to work only if you work it. It's not going to be like, oh, you know, I've now discovered.
Viral on its
own. Now I've discovered Instagram. Boom, it's blowing up now, you know, because finally I'm on the right platform. I believe it's whatever platform you choose.
And the platforms keep changing.
The effort and the time in. Yeah, and the platforms keep changing. So that's why, like personally, I'm moving off platforms. Like I'm building my own ecosystem. So regardless of what platform is out there, you've still got this hub online, this digital hub that people can go and visit and they can find out about you. Because Facebook could die out, Instagram could die out, Twitter could die, and then the next thing, now you've got 15,000 followers on Facebook, but it doesn't mean anything to you. And you can never go find those people again.
No, but one thing is, you're one of the very few artists in the Cape Town hip-hop industry that actually has an email mailing list, where you will regularly get updates about your shows, your performances, etc. And that is a valuable asset to have.
Yeah, email is amazing because it doesn't cost you anything. Man. Sending an email doesn't cost you anything, and I can reach my whole audience. Where social media has kind of taken that away from you. I can no longer reach my entire Facebook following for free with a post or with a direct message. It doesn't work like that.
Algorithms.
Yeah, they're gonna show it to 15% of them, and if I want more of those people to see it, then I must pay. But email is free. So, and again, even boosted posts, I think there's a purpose and there's a time for that. So for a year now, I haven't boosted any posts because I had nothing to sell online. I had no purpose behind it. Because I think also we've created this, we attach this false value to the vanity numbers, man. How many views? How many views do you have? How many? So when my last music video came out, I just gave up because I was like, I could buy views, But then, what's the purpose, man? Okay, I'm now paying to boost posts and the views go up. But then, what's the purpose of doing that? You're just paying for views. So now, when I feel like my infrastructure is set up, now I've started boosting, but it's with a purpose. It's to drive traffic. It is to raise awareness about an event, or it's to raise awareness about new merchandise and those kind of things. So again, there's a time and a place for that. But I'm totally over just boosting posts for the sake of,
For real.
so that I can say this thing has 20,000 views on Facebook.
Yeah, because all he knows, you do an event on Facebook and you got 1,000 people saying they need 10 and like 10 stick out.
Yeah. I think it is about 10% there.
Yeah.
It's something like
10%.
If 200 people say they're gonna come, then okay, 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Mr. J. Rex.
You wanna?
I thought he was going to play something again.
Yeah, I'm gonna play this boogie song.
You wanna not go for it?
Oh, Gary was cynic.
Oh yeah. Go for it, buddy.
Looking like
Away, massa kinders. Kan ons allemaal op die dansvloer kry vir
I'm DMC influence there.
B-boys, B-girls, B-boys, B-girls, DJs, graffiti writers. As die B-boys spring op die vloer vanaand, eet almal kapper uit. Slatte vlee laat sy skoen daardoor beland en die mense cover tape. Met sy hande op die teel en sy voete in die lug. As die break begin speel, maak die boete jou bewus. En die breek aan elke reel, gooi die boek in jou gesig. Al die mense soek meer en roep hulle terug. Met 'n bang bang boogie set up, jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie the beat. Nou skud jou tank boogie en trap vast. Nie soekies want dit is nie waar jy soekie te sien. B-boys, B-girls, B-boys, B-girls, B-boys, B-girls, DJs, graffiti writers, DJs, graffiti writers, DJs, graffiti writers, DJs, graffiti writers. Oh, skeer jou rug, net ver van die muur. Wat 'n plesier. Ons probeer DJ se style is willer as Melpie. Sahara as hy klaar is vernietig hy LP's. Bring 'n skare tot bedaring en beter as LC. Bring hy mense by mekaar en sy skills dis wel free. Wees Lex of Pioneer, dit maak nie regtig saak. So relax, daar's baie meer vir ons om van te praat. Hey mix, trek so kwai meneer, die res kan maar gaan staan. En please, wax, rewind dit weer, my DJ's aan die praat. B-boys, B-girls, B-boys, B-girls, B-boys, B-girls, DJs, graffiti writers, DJs, graffiti writers, DJs, graffiti writers, DJs, graffiti writers. Ja, dis 'n bevel, dames en here. Gee jou lyf vir tyd en skud jou biscuit. Oh, skeer jou rug, net ver van die muur. Wat 'n plesier. Ons boekie pompies, here en Rex raak ryme. Gewapen met al die woeligste lyne. Ek skribbel en om my lyrics te skrywe. Ek tref jou met die flavor. Die is vir die Falcos, die Mac ones, die potties en die goggas. Wat mure mooi maak en is lekker in die kosa. Graffiti sê jou
villainous animators.
Was maar as jy in 'n styl steel, moet jy los af. Die treine in, was 'n klein begin om die kunswerk in 'n galery te bring. Nou's dit happy socks en olifante. Hip-hop wat nou oor van alle kante. Oh, die number is klaar.
Right, dope. Yo, nice. Thanks for coming on board, my bro, and sharing the knowledge, especially from a business marketing perspective. I think those that are watching there's a lot to take away from this.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. Look, I am a big fan of this kind of forum where we just talk and we share ideas, and people bring things that they've read and that they've heard or that's working for them personally. And you just put all that together and you take what works for you out of that, man, and you make it happen. So I've always just been a big fan of this kind of dialogue. It's so important. And I mean, you will know, you can be at an event and you talk and then the guys are like, yo, we must have like a dialogue. We must have a regular thing. And then you organize the thing and then 3 brasse stick uit. Because
that was the 10%.
Yeah. Even less than 10%.
Also, just talking about the music video, Nasir Kanasashi was breaking over there. It's
Yeah,
one of the last
yeah.
the last students that came out of Project Break Free.
That's right, yeah. He
way.
was one of the Project Break Free guys. And big shout out to him and also his dad, Bradley, for letting him
Yeah.
come out of the house on that day. And we promised we would look good after him and we'd buy him a Gatsby and whatever else. And then also shout out to the Rhythm Factory for making their dances available.
Yeah.
We were looking for dancers. That was like probably my first serious music video that we put together. And it was really like to have Easy there, to have Cynic there, to have Gary there, and just play around. We had
it was
fun.
fire. It was fire.
It was fun making it. And of course, there again, there's a lot of throwback stuff there. Like,
Exactly.
You know,
Now I was picking up. I was picking up. I was
Yeah,
There's a
yeah.
sample as well.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. It takes two, ne? Yeah.
Kijk, can I just say, can we just RPK
Gevleelde woord, wat?
RPK go.
What?
RKP, I mean. Random praat go.
Oh.
Anyways,
that's
kijk,
I just made
kijk,
that thing up now, no?
Kijk, wat denk jullie van die president wat zijn iPad verloren het, man? Yeah. Like, just be honest. Like, just randomly. Give me your thoughts, all of you.
It's sad gelijk, man. Wat het is scripted, man.
He was disappointed.
En het, weet je, hij lijkt oud, man.
I think he's feeling the brunt of this because I mean he's on the forefront of having to do all the negotiations, getting the vaccine and stuff like that. So I think it's taking a toll on him. I think
That you can see.
I tell you what, though. It just showed all South Africans that het kan met enige gebeur. Man.
Yeah, man. This is South Africa, bro. You
he
moet
wordt zich erop in de tijd bij bro.
Where are you in South Africa? Can you just leave your iPad there and then walk off?
Somebody dispossessed me
I'm
of
the
my
president.
iPad.
I can do this. Fool.
Kijk,
Check up your
it just shows you, know, you can be the most protected person in South Africa, my bro, and can still get your iPad stolen.
Ja, nee. As een van zijn bodyguards, man.
I
It's an inside job.
I hope he password protected it, man. Like all these nudes and stuff. Is safe.
Unless hij has een credit porno.
Maybe this stuff he's sending his wife there, you know, like see you later, Bookie. And
Here's a final
Cocoa
question
butter.
from me, though. I always feel it's important that
You have this
our people are watching and so forth. So, what is happening next for Jerome Ricks?
Yo, there's a few interesting things that are happening. I'm currently promoting the Change Is Gonna Come cover, which is a partnership between myself and Eddie Strings. He's a guitarist and he's also recently started a music school strings academy in Kuils River. So I'm promoting that at the moment and we're just trying to get people interested in the song and just in the message of hope that the song gives. But also to make you aware that if you purchase the single, if you go to the website jeromerex.co.za and buy the single, then the profits from the sale of that song is actually going to Strings Academy just to give them a little bit of a leg up. Because of course the times we are living in is hard for everybody. So that's the thing that I'm currently working on that I'm really excited about. Then I also have a podcast, Owens. You know, these days everyone can.
Are we invited?
Podcasts are like noses, everybody has them. Yeah.
Ons is die langste.
I stop it, I like it.
So my podcast is called Make Art with Jerome Rex, and it's geared towards creatives and just inspiring them to think entrepreneurially and trying to leverage their creativity. Have you?
Yeah, the one with hearing aid. He talks about rebranding himself.
Yes. That was a really good one. Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, so it's that kind of thing, you know. He rebranded. He was hearing aid. He's Ivy Beats now. There was a risk associated to that. What was the thinking behind it? Why did he rebrand and so forth? That was kind of what that episode was about. And I'm hoping that other people are going to listen to that and they're going to be like, I've been thinking of rebranding. Do I need to, don't I? And there's people who share what they are doing. So it's really about taking whatever your creativity is and leveraging it in a way so that it at least pays for itself. I think that's the first stop for everybody, as this thing must be paying for itself. And it's not taking money out of the house and, you know, and school fees and the bond and all that. It's covering itself, it's washing its own face. And once you've done that, now we can start looking at making a little bit of money and perhaps reinvesting and growing your brand in that way. So that's what the podcast is. You can get that also on my website, on jeromerex.co.za, but it's everywhere. It's on YouTube, it's on Google Podcasts. So if you have other platforms that you are consuming your podcasts on, you can go and find it there. So that's the other thing that I'm busy with. And then, of course, merch and whatnot. I'm always have merch and things around, so you can still find my music is available everywhere. Yeah, I saw Yati is here on your desk, so I thought let Mima also.
En Ryan Winter.
Yeah, en Ryan Winter, yeah, respect. And then, I don't know if you guys, who's gonna fight over this? Is it 2XL? 2XL. So this is my t-shirt that I'm currently promoting. It's my newest design. So you can find all that stuff on the site. But these are the things that I'm busy with right now. These other stuff that I'm really excited about. But you know how it is, man. You can't pull the trigger until everything is in place. So I'm in discussions and we're trying to get venues together. But more small, intimate events, trying to get people together. More living room tours. I'm trying to do really a whole tour this year still. We will see what happens. It's difficult to plan, but you must plan.
Have you done Darling already?
I've not done Darling yet.
Darling Voorkamerfeest.
The Voorkamerfeest. Man, that is nice. Festivals are nice. I've not done Darling yet. I am dying to do it. I think it would be dope. But we are actually organizing our own independent thing that is independent of any major festivals at the moment. Because this year, and possibly next year as well, I don't think any of the big festivals are going to be doing anything at scale. Artscape now, they had said Oosterfeest, and it was like 30 people, 40 people in a venue. The biggest thing was 100 people in a 400-seater venue. So you can imagine what that felt like, you know. The Bloemfontein Festival, the Vryfeest, same thing, is like 30, 40 people in an event. So it's going to be a good while, I think, before the big festivals really have anything at scale. But again, that doesn't stop you from booking your own shows and doing your own things, you know, in a way that is responsible and in a way that is safe. And that is also the big thing for me. So I'm trying to kind of be aware of what the infection rates and the statistics are looking like. But at the same time also, you need to do something. You know, so as far as it is possible, as far as it's possible to do things in a way that is safe and responsible, that's what I want to do. Is someone at the door?
You know what?
Did not follow protocol.
Once again, Jerome, it's the first time I meet you. Awesome meeting you, and I hope there's going to be much more success coming your way.
Thank you so much,
and
Websta, man.
All the people watching this podcast, you know Jerome Rex, check him out. This man is totally, I saw the sweater there. It says Hope Dealer, but he's dope.
That's
Easy's brand, yeah. Easy's brand. I threw that on because Easy's in the video.
And another thing, just so that everybody also knows, last thing I'm going to say, ek praat baie, but it's Diamond's birthday morgen, né? So mense,
Kijk, by the time this goes out, this is not live.
Yeah, but still,
By the time you see this, I'll be a year older.
Okay, yeah.
There you go. Donations welcome. Gifts can be sent to is there like a PO box address where people can send cake and
If Cyril hears it's his birthday, open up the bottle stores.
Nooit. Ons wag ook al môre en môre is dit alles toegekap. But yeah, from the Babbling Heads out, we out.
DJ Fingaz.
Websta.
Charlie X2C.
Thanks a lot, man.
Yo, thanks guys. Thanks for having me on. It was awesome. And thank you for the great work you're doing, man. It's like to hear people come on the show and hear the things that they're all talking. The questions you ask. The hard questions. Yeah, the gadgets. Don't get me started on the gadgets.
The toys.
Met krap. The face one is so good.
Oh, the number is klaar.
Dus 6 is het. Ze schrijven niet outro.